Suburbs, a now very common way to expand cities. The AHS projects 52% of all Americans live in neighborhoods considered suburban. I'd go out and say that more than 52% of the people watching this video right now live in a suburban neighborhood. It's just how it goes nowadays. And everyone seems to like suburbs. They're an efficient way to expand and provide a very nice community for young middle-class couples to start a family in. But I don't like them. They've always been off-putting to me and I'm just not a fan. So in this video I'm going to explain why I hate US suburbs. Before I get into this video though, make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you like the videos. It's super helpful for me and it's super easy for you. I know most of you aren't subscribed, so please consider changing that. So to talk about why I hate the suburbs in the US, first I need to give you a brief history of the suburban age in America and what a suburb is. So a suburb is an area or city, usually in larger metropolitan areas. These areas consist of cul-de-sacs and generally higher income neighborhoods. This idea started sometime around 1930. When the United States started slowly switching from the grid design that they currently used over to a hybrid of what we currently know suburbs as. Slowly as cars became more and more required in this country, suburbs morphed into a disconnected, squiggly mess that we now call them. We're now at the point where basically all of the new expansion in the USA is suburban. Now I live in a rural area, and I have my entire life. My family has always had a very negative view on suburbs. Since I was little, my mom would talk to me about how much she hates how they're designed and how they look. Now that I've gotten older and gotten more interested in this type of stuff, I've developed my own thoughts and opinions on suburbs. These opinions being generally similar to my mother's. I hate them. I hate how they look with their short driveways and massive garages, their small unforested yards and their dumb basketball hoops, and most of all, I hate their unoriginal design. That's always been my main gripe with suburbs. The way they try to be original by making themselves different colors and slightly different designs while having the exact same layout as the house next to them. It took me 5 minutes to create this graphic in MS Paint showing the layout of the average suburban household. You have a driveway in front, always almost the exact same size, with a basketball hoop next to it, then a sidewalk going along the road. Then every single suburban house has this absolutely humongous garage, making it the main attraction of the house. And that alone is what makes a suburban house layout so unappealing and disgusting. The main focal point of each home is the garage. It looks terrible. The only way to combat this is by having a house next to the garage so large it overpowers it. And by that point, it's basically a mansion and it costs way too much to buy for the average American. So most people get stuck with a home that looks exactly the same as every other home in the country right now. There's zero originality that goes with it, and every single suburban family and household are the same. I'm not even going to try and explain what I'm talking about right now, because I guarantee everyone watching this video has the exact same suburban friend. I bet a lot of the people watching this video are a part of the suburban friends. It's all the same, all of it. So now that I've explained my hatred for suburbs to you, I can now explain the world from my point of view, and talk to you about my least favorite large American metropolitan area. That being Phoenix, Arizona, a rapidly growing city that has fallen completely victim to American suburbanization, and in the worst way too. The expansion of the city has been done in such an unappealing and disgusting way. With a lot of areas, the suburbs have an interesting layout at least, with squiggly and at least unique road designs. But in Phoenix, they've made their suburbs in such a basic and square way, we're almost bringing ourselves back to a glorified grid design. In this picture I'm showing you right now, the road layout just looks completely unappealing and sad. They're just making square roads with waves to trick people into thinking they're interesting and new. Heck, it's like they ran out of road designs and just copied their fingerprint onto a piece of paper and proposed it the next day. It's so hard on the eyes. It's hard to look at in my opinion. Heck, up in Scottsdale, Arizona, they're color coding the different neighborhoods. Like, yeah bro, I'm from the white neighborhood, what about you? Oh, I'm from the lightish red neighborhood. I mean, my goodness, when are we gonna stop? It pains me to look at suburbs on Google Maps, especially the farther west you go. The worse the suburbs are getting. Places like Las Vegas, Dallas, Houston, obviously Phoenix. And I know you guys want me to stay away from it, but San Diego is not getting out of this without being mentioned as one of the suburb offenders. All of these cities have butchered city planning in my mind and deserve the death penalty. I hate you guys. But that's what I have to say about suburbs. Now that I've talked bad about them, I feel it's important that I speak about some good. Suburbs are great places to raise families and have a low crime rate. Economically, they're a nice spot to get a job and live. Though I'd personally rather living a bit farther out of a city in exchange for an extra acre or two of land, I still respect your opinion if you want to live in a suburb. I'd also like to say a couple cities that I think have nice suburbs. The first one being Denver, which even though it is out west and has a lot of suburbs, they aren't unbearable to look at and have interesting layouts. Though I personally wouldn't prefer them to a rural area, I don't hate them. And finally, I want to give credit where credit is due and acknowledge Lincoln, Nebraska for having, in my opinion, the only actually good suburbs. Looking around the city on Street View, it has legitimately very pretty suburbs. Perfectly forested, they just look nice and cozy. Some of the new developments on the outside of the city are not as good, But the suburbs farther inside the city are just amazing. They have interesting and unique designs, and we need way more cities like them. Though I do think it could come from the size of Lincoln, which in my opinion is just a very good in-between from large cities to small towns. But overall, I do just think Lincoln is doing everything right. But that's going to do it for this video and my rant on suburbs. It's going to really suck in 50 years when the suburbs of cities outnumber urban 3-1, and cities are just going to be an absolute squiggly mess. But we're just going to have to live with it. Thanks for watching.